Hey, what's up guys? My name is Moda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. Well, this did not take very long at all. We now have the full specs of that KS3, that KASPA Bitmain miner. We have release windows, we have full specs, right? So now we can plug it in, see what it looks like on the calculator, and see what it's going to do to the network, right? So go over those briefly. We're going to go over them real quick just to get this info out. So if that sounds good, guys, stay tuned, all right? So let's get to it. So Bitmain already dropped it on their Twitter, just like we kind of thought maybe they would around that same time frame. It's always between 9 and 10 a.m. Here it is. 8.3 terahash, 3,188 watts. So very, very close with our easy math prediction that we did, comparing it with the Molt miner, getting that 8 terahash and multiplying it by 1,000. Pretty much right on that point, right? So kind of crazy. Just nuts, right? So 8.3 terahash, which is 4x of that $30,000 Ice River. Okay, so put that into perspective. Again, RIP for all you guys who pre-ordered that thing, and this thing is going to ship fairly soon. It's going to ship in August, so pre-orders will be starting here pretty soon. Just like we were saying, right? Same exact thing that happened with the KA3, where they're going to start doing the pre-orders now. Going to be shipping in August. Don't be surprised to see it get delayed until later, but supposedly that's when it's going to come out. But if this Ice River thing does come out, then I do see them releasing in August, right? So the one thing to take note of is that it's 30 units per customer, so don't think it's going to be a huge thing, but expect to see, I would say at bare minimum, about 1,000 units, right? So I don't think it's going to be something where they're dropping 10,000 of them on us, but even just anywhere from 500 to 1,000 units, it's still going to devastate the network, right? So we'll talk about that here in a minute. So again, these stats are out. It's coming soon. Let's plug it in a calculator, and it is freaking insane, right? And this is what we're talking about. This is pretty much on par with what we're guessing, and your daily revenue, plugging it in here, right? 8.3 million mega hash brings your daily revenue, right, to $2,837 with a $9 electrical cost per day. ROI of 5 days if this thing comes in at 15 grand. In freaking insane. But again, of course, guys, this is going to change drastically as these come on the network, right? Still going to be really good, especially for any of you guys who get in early. If you're able to get the hookup and get in on that first batch, again, even if you're a week ahead of everybody else, you can ROI in a matter of days. It's insane, right? So don't be too surprised, though, if Bitmain does Bitmain and they mine on these for a little while. Who knows? Maybe they're already made, and that's part of the hash rate. We don't know, right? A lot of speculation with that, but realistically, it's going to be crazy, right? Again, even if this daily revenue gets divided by 10, right? Because it's, the network 10x's, still $280 a day, right? So it's still going to be insane just because of how fast that jump was, right? A lot of us knew with or not new, but a lot of us saw with Kadena how fast it seemed to go, right? From CPU, GPU, FPGA to ASIC. That still took a matter of 3 years, and that was a pretty fast one, right? This guy is literally months, going from GPU to FPGA briefly, and now to latest and greatest ASIC. Insane, right? Literally months instead of years, which was pretty fast for Kadena. Right? Insane. And that's why it's such a big jump, right? Because again, with Kadena, we did see these profitable miners going from when it went from FPGA to ASIC, when it went to that KD5, making crazy money, the little OG KD box, crazy money, KD6, crazy money, right? So those took years. It is going from the, upper echelon GPUs to baby FPGAs to the latest and greatest from Bitmain, all in one swoop. Right? So this is why it's extraordinary, right? This is insane. I mean, there's no other way to put it other than it's insane. And this is why the profitability is going to be insane for those of you who are able to get your hands on it ASAP, right? So again, expect to see quite a hefty price point though. I would expect somewhere between 12 and 15K. Wouldn't be surprised to see more, right? Just depending on how many units released. But We'll go over that here in a second. So insane. So now let's look at what it could possibly do to the network, right? So if we go on any site, right, we look at the overall hash rate, right? It's give or take, hovers between like 1.1 or 1.25 petahash, right? So again, just doing easy math, we know from previous releases that it's probably going to be anywhere from 500 to 1,000 units that get shipped, at least initially. Could be more, right? We saw with like the Kadena, it was about 2,000, but we did see with like the HS3, where it was more, it was less, right? At this point, I don't see it being like 2,000 units. I see it realistically like 500 to 1,000 units, at least initially, right? Of course, they're going to continue to produce and make more and more and more, but that initial batch, it's probably going to be at least between 500 to 1,000. Could it be more? Yes. Could it be less? I highly, highly doubt they're going to produce less than 500 of these, right? Realistically, I definitely see bare minimum being 1,000, right? So we know that this guy is going to be 8.3 terahash. So again, just plugging in easy math, right? 1,000 units, 8 terahash times 1,000 brings us to 8,000 terahash, which is 8 petahash, right? Currently, the entire network is 1.2 petahash, okay? So if you're on a GPU, this is the reason that it's not going to look too hot after these guys release, right? Because you could pretty much, whatever you're earning right now, divide that by 8, and that's what you're going to be yielding. If only 1,000 units come on, and this is not even factoring if the Ice River actually ships or not, right? So this is why most likely GPUs will get booted off the network, essentially. I mean, you're still going to be able to mine it, but it's just not going to be profitable at all. It's not going to make any sense to mine that versus all the other GPU mineable options we do have, right? And even if you're still on KASPA, mine those other coins, sell it, buy KASPA, right? That's pretty much what was my game plan with like these FPGAs, mine KASPA as long as I can. And as we switch to RXD, which is going to be more profitable, sell that RXD, buy more KASPA, right? Just finding more means to more KASPA essentially. But pretty crazy stuff, man. It's going to change everything. It's going to be very similar to like what Bitmain did with these other networks, where it's essentially going to boot everything off and it's just going to be that Antminer pretty much running the network. Kind of like what happened with, I think a good example is like with Handshake, where it's just it blew everything else out of the water, and I can pretty much guarantee that everything on the Handshake network is all just HS3s, because everything else is ridiculously unprofitable, right? So you're going to see pretty much the same thing most likely happen here. It's pretty nuts, man. Again, if you are able to find a way to get your hands on it early, not financial advice, but if you are able to find a way to get your hands on one early, it may be insanely profitable, right? So we'll see what happens. We'll see what they do. But again, expect this thing to be crazy, crazy hard to get, right? So even if you're doing this thing where you do the flash sale deposit, it's kind of BS. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with it. You pretty much deposit, but just because you deposit doesn't like reserve you a spot. You deposit, and then when it does become available for sale, you still have to beat the bots. You still have to be extremely lucky to be able to jump in and grab one, right? So realistically, your best bet will probably be through like third-party vendors, right? So, you know, your BT miners of the world or whatever vendor distributor you end up using, right? Because again, this thing will very likely be extremely hard to get. We'll see what the price point is. Most likely, realistically, they can price this thing at like 25K and it'll probably still sell, right? But realistically, just to be like a big FU to Ice River, it's probably going to come in under 15K. Expect most likely somewhere between 10 and 15K, right? Just pretty much to give them the middle finger and blow them out of the water, right? So again, crazy, crazy news. It's coming a little faster than I hoped, but at least should be able to get maybe this whole summer as far as being able to mine still, maybe, with GPUs. But again, pretty much have everything full tilt now, guys, because you're not going to be able to GPU mine it very much longer, at least profitably. So we'll see what happens, right? So I'll keep you posted. We'll see what the price is and availability. As soon as I start hearing things, I will keep you guys updated, because this is one that I will be trying to clear funds for and try to make room for, because it's very, very, very intriguing. So we'll see. I mean, I'll try to make it happen, but realistically, I highly doubt it, mainly because it's going to be hard to get. Price is going to be through the roof. And again, even if you are able to get it through like third-party vendors, expect them to inflate the price like crazy. Just like when like the KA3 was first announced before the price really came out, people were already pricing it at like 30K, right? But then Bitmain did release that price, 5K, and then it like went lower, right? But it's still, even to this day, it's still quite a bit over the MSRP. So even if Bitmain does release it at, let's say 12K, expect these third-party vendors to be as high as like 15, 18, 20K. Don't be surprised to see those kind of numbers, right? So we'll see, but I'll definitely be trying for it, right? Definitely worth a shot, but again, expect it to be hard to get. All right, guys, just wanted to give you that update because this is big news, especially for those of you into KASPA, or even if you're not into KASPA. The profitability on this thing is just going to be insane, right? So again, guys, please let me know if you're interested. Comment. Let me know if you're going to try to get one. Please comment, like, and subscribe, guys. Thank you for watching, and I am out.